Doctor Strange will be featured in the third MCU Spider-Man movie. But what if he's not there to help Peter into the multiverse? What if he's there for one more day? Wait, don't go make an angry comment yet. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Stories change, and this might actually be the coolest outcome yet. With Spider-Man literally trapped between two worlds, he has a chance to be part of the coolest storyline formed from one of the least favorite Spider-Man stories. Now, let's see how it could play out. With an understandable drought when it comes to news about the future of the MCU, things have gotten exciting really quickly when it comes to the third outing in the MCU for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. First, there was the news that Jamie Foxx would reprise his role as Electro, which was extra surprising because this isn't the Spider-Man series that Jamie Foxx played Electro in. Next came the announcement that none other than Doctor Strange was set to appear in the next Spider-Man, and that's when fans' Spider-Verse signals started going off. In the middle of all of that, Fandom Wire reported that Marvel and Sony were in talks with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to reprise their roles. Then ET Canada said that casting was unconfirmed, which isn't a no, it's more of a stop guessing and we'll show you something cool. But guessing is part of the fun! And that's exactly what Redditor Cretan Lung has done when he posited that Doctor Strange's role might be in the upcoming movie. Cretan Lung doesn't believe that Doctor Strange is gonna just throw Peter into the multiverse to solve his problems. Rather, his role will be much simpler. When we last left our wall-crawling hero, he was on top of the world. He had defeated Mysterio and hit the jackpot, discovering the feelings for MJ were mutual. She'll eventually want to ride the web swing, he just has to explain his ability to sense danger without calling it his Peter Tingle. Then J. Jonah Jameson came out of nowhere and exposed Peter Parker as Spider-Man and framed him for the elemental attacks that Mysterio faked. Cretan Lung supposes that Doctor Strange would be the only one that Spider-Man can turn to in his trouble. The Sorcerer Supreme might feel responsible for Spidey since Stark is gone, and realizing that he's in trouble would portal Peter out of danger and into the Sanctum Sanctorum. There, he can hide out for as long as he needs while he clears his name. Peter is not going to have a lot of places to turn. As a signatory of the Sokovia Accords, the Stark business is likely obligated to not have any association with non-signing parties. Even if the Sokovia Accords are no longer enforced after, the whole saving half the world thing or whatever, if Peter runs to Happy, that would more or less confirm his Spider-Man-ness and Stark's involvement. Talos would have to admit that he's not Nick Fury, and this level of deception goes beyond even a race of shapeshifters. Doctor Strange might be the last hope that Peter Parker has in New York. For his part, Doctor Strange might feel compelled to help out the superhero that wouldn't give up and followed him into space to save him from the Black Order. So Peter's in trouble, and Doctor Strange does his sparkly circle thing and says it's time to go, and since the last time that happened it meant back to Earth to fight Thanos, Spider-Man goes right through. Then, from the best hideout ever, because the exits and entrances are magic, he deals with his whole Electro problem. Now there's another off-screen reason this makes sense. The third Spider-Man movie and the second Doctor Strange movie start filming within a week or two of each other. Spider-Man will be filming in Atlanta and Doctor Strange in London. Since the sparkly circles belong to Doctor Strange and not Benedict Cumberbatch, this would speak directly to Cumberbatch's availability to be in Spider-Man. So it'd make sense if the Sorcerer Supreme just gave Parker a place to stay, told him not to touch anything, and then went and dealt with this whole Wanda situation. After 2 movies and 2 mentors, we know that Peter doesn't always listen to his mentors, so Peter is going to touch something and look into this whole Electro situation. It could even be that this is how Peter discovers the Spider-Verse on his own. Fans of the Master of the Mystical Arts would know that this is not entirely out of character for the stoic wizard. Doctor Strange takes his role as protector of this reality very seriously. He has not been afraid to step in and make some hard decisions. The MCU Doctor Strange has shown the same determination, not afraid to challenge Loki himself if he needed a check-in. We know that the upcoming Doctor Strange movie features Strange taking in the Scarlet Witch Wanda Maximoff when her powers start to go haywire, which is exactly what Strange did for Wanda in the comics. Now, Doctor Strange probably wouldn't offer a magic solution to Peter's decidedly not magic problems. After all, he's about to have to do some damage control when Wanda did that very thing trying to bring back Vision. The Sanctum Sanctorum makes a perfect hideout when you need to get away and clear your name. The best part, of course, is the ability to come and go in near total secrecy. This would allow Peter to slip in and out of the Sanctum in the hopes of clearing his name. It could be through these portals, or more likely Peter Parker's inability to navigate them, that might cause the cross-multiverse shenanigans. With Spider-Man scheduled first, the events in that movie might hint at Doctor Strange's difficulty in holding the walls up between the different universes. Or it could just be good old-fashioned Peter Parker not following instructions. Either way, there's an opportunity for Peter to end up in the multiverse. Peter Parker isn't great at following instructions. It might not even be Peter's fault. There could be another person lurking in the shadows that might be taking advantage of the weakened barriers between realities. Someone who has a particularly specific interest in different spider-powered people across the multiverse. Morlun, the psychic vampire. Morlun is a special kind of spider hater. He's all the way from Earth 001, and thanks to winning a fight against one, he has the powers of a creature of unworldly horror. They have the ability to spin through the multiverse as long as they grab the energy of any spider totem being. Basically, anyone who's got spider powers. Suddenly, being able to do whatever a spider can isn't that sweet a deal. Inverse has suggested that Morlun is the logical baddie behind the baddie for the third Spider-Man outing, and it lends itself to Creed and Lung's suggestion as well. It's not Doctor Strange that sends Peter into the multiverse, but accidentally getting on Morlun's radar. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that Morlun has found himself in the center of a Spider-Verse throwdown, and in the other, Spidey consulted with the Master Mystic about his new psychic vampire foe. So, what does this look like then, and how does it relate to One More Day? Well, let's break it down. We see Spidey get outed as Peter Parker in the end credits of Spider-Man Far From Home. Peter's first instinct is to call Happy, who tells him immediately that he can't call Happy. They'll do what they can to help, but they have to appear separate. Maybe Peter should try Nick Fury. That's when Talos has to admit that he's not up to the Nick Fury level of manipulation required to unring this bell. And that's when the sparkly circle shows up and Doctor Strange appears. This isn't an invitation to learn the Sorcerer's ways, though, or even becoming a superhero mentor. Spider-Man is an Avenger, and he came through on Titan and then Earth. He followed Strange into space to save him. The least he could do is give him a place to hang out. Only the multiverse is unraveling, and that's pretty much Doctor Strange's only job, so he's gonna have to take care of it. With Wong busy as well, though, that means there's no one to man the portals. Strange would likely give Parker a magical way in and out that hides his presence in the Sanctorum. Either way, Peter finds a portal to a similar but not the same universe. Maybe it's through one of those tears that a little bit of electro-charged Max Dillon gets through. It travels around until it finds this universe's Max Dillon, and he gets his own electro powers without the whole blue thing. If there's one thing we do know, it's that he won't be blue. So now Peter is fighting to protect his privacy and having to save the world from this bad guy that he just unleashed, and that's nice and complicated until that hole widens, because having one spider totem come into tangential contact with another, that attracts the attention of Morlun. Just when he's coming to terms with Dillon's electro powers, that's when he's attacked by Morlun, who is looking to siphon off some of that spider power as part of his highly specific needs. Just when it seems like Morlun is too much for one Spider-Man to handle, the Amazing Spider-Man shows up, having followed Dillon through the portal. And then, because three of a kind beats a pair, Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man shows up as the full live-action Spider-Verse comes together for the first time. During the big throwdown, perhaps there's an even bigger tragedy, one that Peter Parker might never actually be able to get past. He's not able to save his Aunt May. Regardless of whatever else is going on, as soon as Peter was outed as Spider-Man, Aunt May became vulnerable. Parker's biggest stress would be trying to protect her while trying to put the genie back in the bottle. Even if she shuffled off to the Sanctorum with Peter, she wouldn't necessarily be safe. She could be caught in the escape or putting the bad guys back. Either way, Peter is looking for his own magical way out of his loss. The movie could end like that, Peter aware that there are other spider-folk out there and that his Aunt May is gone. But during the post-credits sequence, he wakes up with an Aunt May and an Uncle Ben. That's right, Uncle Ben gets to come back. His time has finally come. And this is the way they alter the One More Day storyline. Peter Parker will get what he wanted, more time with his Aunt May, but with a cost. MJ doesn't remember the relationship. But if it goes even further and Uncle Ben is back, it would turn out that it was less One More Day and more what happened to Peter Parker in one of Scarlet Witch's altered realities in House of M. One More Day turns out instead to be the beginning of House of M, suggesting that whatever Doctor Strange was dealing with didn't end well. And this would mean that the future MCU movie that Spider-Man could guest in wouldn't be the next Avengers movie, but a House of M movie with Doctor Strange acting as a prelude, which would mean we're in for a busy Phase 4. So that is one way that things could unfold in the next few MCU movies. What do you think is going to happen? Will we get all 3 Spider-Man actors in the same movie? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, make sure you shore up your multiverse by subscribing to CBR for the latest videos in your inbox. Thanks for watching.